This Evan is the campaign director at Fight for the Future. Fightforthefuture.org is their website. They have a brand new campaign, votefornetneutrality.com. You can tweet Evan at Evan_Greer or at Fight for the FTR, abbreviation of future, presumably. Evan, welcome back to the program.
Thanks for having me on, Tom.
Thanks for joining us.
The bomb cyclone in the Northeast.
Oh, are you in the Northeast right now?
I am. You can see the results out here.
Oh my! Oh
Pretty
my!
serious already.
Yeah. Well, stay safe, Evan, please. So tell us about this campaign, Vote for Net Neutrality. I think most Americans figure the war is over, the battle is over, there's nothing that can be done. You know, pretty soon the internet companies are going to start slowing down the websites that they don't like, and we're all just going to be screwed. What's the situation really?
So the news of net neutrality's demise has been a bit exaggerated, but we are definitely fighting a serious uphill battle to prevent that from happening. So to catch people up, just at the end of last year, the Federal Communications Commission voted 3-2 to gut basic protections that prevent companies like Comcast, Verizon, and AT&T from slowing down our internet, charging us more to access certain websites, or engaging in outright censorship and blocking. Fortunately, Congress has the ability to overturn that decision using the Congressional Review Act. Now, if you're an activist on any issue or follow politics, you may recognize that the Congressional Review Act is often used for really bad things, like gutting environmental protections, or, for example, the ISPs used it to get rid of basic internet privacy rules just last year.
Right. It gives Congress the ability. It gives Congress the ability to overrule any federal agency that's in the executive branch that does rulemaking in a context originally authorized by Congress, right?
That's exactly right. And so this is one case where a CRA is absolutely appropriate. The FCC went rogue. It's working for giant corporations instead of the American public, and they got rid of these basic protections that the overwhelming majority of voters from across the political spectrum, Republicans, Democrats, independents, doesn't matter, support. So this is a moment where Congress needs to do its job, use the Congressional Review Act, and it can cleanly overturn the FCC's rulemaking and restore the strong net neutrality protections that millions of people support.
Right. So your website, for people who you know, for whom this is an issue, which should be all of us, frankly, is votefornetneutrality.com. Do I have that right?
That's right, votefornetneutrality.com. And the idea here is that people can sign up to pledge to vote against any lawmaker that doesn't use this simple mechanism and cast their vote to overturn the FCC order by voting for the CRA. So this is one rare moment where in a tight election year, we have Congress taking a simple up or down vote on a clear issue where they can't hide from us. And I think that's really powerful, and we want to give people the power to take their anger about this issue to the poll.
Yeah, well said. Last question here, Evan. Republicans, I mean, the Republican Party famously has basically become the party that is for sale to the highest bidder, regardless of the topic. I mean, they'll even deny science for money. They did it for tobacco for years. They're doing it for the fossil fuel industry now. You know, clearly Ajit Pai and the two Republican commissioners on the FCC are looking at multi-million-dollar paydays down the road from these big ISPs for the gift that they gave them. Is that not true of most Republican lawmakers? I mean, do you really believe that with a Republican-controlled House and Senate that we can peel off enough Republicans? Plus, it would require the assent of Paul Ryan to simply put it on the floor of the House and Mitch McConnell to make this happen?
So here's the story. I'm so glad you asked this question because it's really easy to start feeling like this is an insurmountable mountain that we're climbing. But this is why we can get it done. First of all, it's super important to understand that unlike so many of those other issues where lawmakers on both sides of the aisle do get bought off by special interests and corporate lobbying, this is one that hasn't become partisan outside of Washington, D.C. So Republican lawmakers, regardless of whether they care or not, know that their own voters, the people who support them and who donate to their campaigns, care about net neutrality and don't want it taken away. So that changes the dynamic from many other issues right there.
Right.
Then, with the Congressional Review Act, we don't actually need leadership support to get something to the floor. In the Senate, you only need 30 senators to force a vote on the Senate floor. We've already got 29. I'm sure we'll get that 30th in the next couple of days or weeks. We'll get a vote on the Senate floor. Then we move to the House. In the House, we have definitely more of an uphill battle. We're going to need to get several Republicans to break ranks and vote with Democrats on this in order to get a CRA vote forced to the House floor. That said, we had 15 House Republicans break ranks to vote against that anti-privacy legislation that I mentioned earlier. So we have some headway there. We've already seen several Republicans coming out. And the reality is that we're winning on the substance of this issue. Killing net neutrality is going to be bad for small businesses. It's anti-free market. It's against all the things that Republicans say that they care about. And so this is one issue where I think it's going to be more difficult for them to hide from voters than on other issues, and we intend to make it an election issue in 2018.
That is great. The Congressional Review Act is something that probably most people who listen to right-wing radio are familiar with, because right-wingers are always trying to use it to overturn, progressive legislation. But I suspect a lot of—
Well, here's a chance to give them a taste of their own medicine.
There you go. I'm guessing a lot of progressives don't, this is perhaps the first time they've ever heard of it, but there is a law that gives Congress the power to overturn whatever the FCC does, and any other federal agency for that matter. And it can be very easily done. It just requires a simple majority vote. And, we can make this thing happen. Evan Greer, the campaign director at fightforthefuture.org. The new website, votefornetneutrality.com. Evan, I wish you the very best in this work. Please keep us up to date, okay?
Thanks for having me on, Tom, and thanks for all you do.
Thanks so much, Evan. You're doing God's work here. It's good stuff.